Today, we're going to look at completing the square. Completing the square is a technique that we use to take a polynomial and put it in a particular form where a portion of that polynomial can be written as the square of a binomial. There are applications for this in college algebra, in trigonometry, calculus, and maybe even beyond. So let's take a look at our first example. Now, in this particular video, we're going to look at examples where our leading coefficient on the squared term is a 1. In a later video, we'll look at what to do if we don't have a 1 there. But for now, we start by looking at the first two terms, and we're going to group them together. Now, we're going to do something that's going to force this entire set of three terms, because I'm going to add another term here, to be a perfect square. What I'm going to do is look at the middle coefficient. I'm going to take half of it. Half of 8 is 4, and then I'm going to square that and add it in with the other terms. So we're going to add in 4 squared. I took half of 8, which is 4, and I'm squaring it. However, we can't just carelessly add in terms whenever we feel like it. We've got to keep the balance. So because I've added 4 square inside of the parentheses, to maintain the balance outside of parentheses, I'm going to subtract off 4 squared. Okay? Now, when I did that here, what happens is this fits my pattern for squaring a binomial. And if you're not familiar with that, go back and look at the video on how to square binomials or how to factor binomials that fit this particular pattern. Okay, but if you look at that, then this is going to factor as x plus 4 squared. Okay, and it should be just that simple. That's why I wrote this out as 4 squared and not 16. So we could easily say, okay, well, this is going to factor as x plus 4. And then over here, we'll just combine our plus 5 minus 16. That's going to give me negative 11. And that's it. I've written this or completed the square on this polynomial. Let's take a look at another example. Okay, so we have x squared minus 12x plus 6. And if you try some factoring techniques, you probably wouldn't be able to factor this. What I want to do is complete the square. So again, my first step is to group my squared term and my x term. And we'll leave the constant on the other or on the outside of our parentheses. Now I'm going to look at the middle term and I'm going to take half of it. Half of 12 is 6. And then I want to square that and add it in. So we're going to add plus 6 squared. Now the minus sign doesn't matter because we're squaring this. So yes, technically this was a negative 6, but negative 6 times negative 6 would still be positive. So this will always, when we add this term, it will always be positive since we've squared it. Now let's maintain our balance. We've added in 36. So what do I need to do? I need to subtract 36. Okay, and now we can simplify. Okay, x squared minus 12x plus 6 squared is going to factor as x minus 6 squared. And then we've got 6 minus 36. So that's negative 30, minus 30.